Well, welcome everyone to a Future Beauty Talk with our special guest, Nick Wallen and Linda Russell. I'm Frank Salmon from Vital Plus, where our passion is dedicated to the skin's long-term health. Today, we're going to discuss the facts and fallacies of the skin microbiome. It's a fascinating subject that has become more and more prominent with gut health becoming a subject of great interest in the last 5 years. Excuse my computer as it sings along. We are now primed to understanding the similarities between our skin cells and the microscopic world and how that leads to a healthier skin. Now, the thing is, well, many things are being written or being said or presumed that can lead you astray. And we want to clear that up for you today. By the end of this conversation with Nick and Linda, I guarantee that your understanding about the skin microbiome will be clear and you'll know exactly how you and your clients can reap the benefit, or your skin anyway. Just so you know, you don't need to take any notes because we are recording this session and it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So, and naturally we'll let you know. So just sit back, relax, sip on your favorite drink and enjoy the show. I'll just have a little sip myself. And we thought that we would host this presentation in a kind of a different format with a question and answer type of format. Linda is going to be asking and talking through with Nick some questions. So that's going to be very interesting. But I am going to get you to get your curiosity and skeptic instincts out of the drawer and to ask Nick and Linda towards the end any questions that are nibbling at your mind. Now, if you're not sure, all you need to do is you scroll down the bottom of your screen and you'll see there's a little sort of chat icon. And once you click on it, it'll allow you to post a question. And what we'll do is we'll collect these questions, as many as possible, and we'll put them to Nick and we'll get him to answer those questions. Now, just a little background on Nick Wallen. He's a lecturer. He's lectured about the skin microbiome worldwide, and he's considered one of the world's authority on the subject. He's a biochemist and molecular scientist. Because of Linda, his wife, who she had some reactive and sensitive skin condition, Nick was really inspired and motivated to develop a breakthrough technology. And you've probably guessed it. Yes, it's all linked to the skin microbiome. Now, this technology is all encapsulated in the JooMo face and body wash that I'm going to talk to you at the end of this presentation. But because we only have 1 hour on this topic, I'm going to jump right into it. Linda, I believe that it's a little bit after 3 a.m. in London at the moment. 3 a.m. I mean. So it's obvious that you and Nick are very dedicated to educating people about this fascinating subject that the skin microbiome is. So thank you for being with us. We are deeply honored and very, very grateful. Please take it away.
Oh, well, look, it's great to be here, and thanks so much for inviting us, Frank. And hello to everyone who's joining us today on Future Beauty. We're really excited to be here. As Frank's already said, Nick and I are the founders of JooMo, and we're really looking forward to talking to you today and sharing our passion, some might even say obsession, for the skin microbiome and the potentially health-giving science surrounding it. Now, as Frank said, and you all know, the title is Facts and Fallacies of the Skin Microbiome, pre-pro, get my tongue around that one, and postbiotics and what it takes to have a healthy skin microbiome. And again, as Frank said, we wanted to do this in a sort of question and answer format. It seemed more natural, and it seemed like a bit of a dialogue. It's the sort of things we talk about all the time between us. And maybe that way we can look at some of the misconceptions surrounding skin health and the skin microbiome, and also explain the reason why your skin microbiome is not just incredibly important for your skin health, but also essential for whole body health. I think, did you mention, Frank, the quiz? I don't want to repeat it. There'll be a short quiz available on our website afterwards. You mentioned it at the end. I shall, yeah, I shall leave that to you then. So I think, hopefully, Nick's all ready to answer, to be interrogated by me. Are you ready, Nick?
Oh, yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Right, so let's go then. And let's start off with the obvious question, which is, what is the microbiome? It's a word bandied round. We think we know, and apologies if you do know what it is, but what is it, Nick? Just tell us.
That's right. It is bandied around, and it's one of those buzz phrases. But no, I think a lot of people don't really fully understand the implications. I'm going to hint at the implications by letting everyone in Australia know. Good afternoon, everyone, by the way. That the alarming truth is that we're in fact only 40% human. That's all of us, okay? And the remaining 60% of you, of all of us, is alien microbes. Again, it's rather alarming. These microbes, the bacteria, yeast, fungi, are your microbiome, okay? So this 60% of you is your microbiome, and these microbes live in and on your body, and that's going to be key, not just in your body, on your body. And they're vital for your health, playing a key role in your immune defense system. Excuse me. Now, our hyper-cleanliness culture that's sort of grown up would have us believe that bacteria are bad and that antibacterial products help us make us clean. But these microbes are an essential part of not just your gut, but our skin barrier too, and should be cherished and nurtured. And it's an interesting fact also is that the skin is the largest organ in the body and is host to probably the most diverse range of microbes in the human body, even more than the gut.
Now, that's absolutely fascinating, Nick, and if unnerving to think that we're covered in microbes, for those of you who didn't realise. But just to say, why is understanding the microbiome so important? I mean, who cares, apart from us, obviously, and why does it matter? Can you just tell us?
Exactly. I mean, this is the thing, really. It's one of these in-phrase buzzwords. But, you know, the reason it matters, the reason why it's so important, because there's an allergy epidemic raging across the Western world, okay? You know, there's been a 500% rise in skin allergies in just the last 75 years. And food allergies are increasing at an alarming rate too. You know, so the big question is here is, if the Western world, the developed world, which has a much more developed health and welfare system, why is there an allergy epidemic? Okay, now, to find out the cause of this allergy epidemic and to solve it, we need to go to the root of the problem.
I mean, that's quite a shocking. Let's take a minute for that to sink in. A 500% rise in skin allergies. And I remember the first time I saw that, I was really quite shocked. And so what is the root of the problem? And what's this allergy epidemic got to do with the skin microbiome that we're so fascinated by?
Good, that's the question I wanted. Okay, so what we've got here, okay, we're talking about the skin microbiome, and then we've come in with the fact there's an allergy epidemic. Okay, so are the two linked? Well, that's the crux here, because nearly all very common skin problems, I mean all, acne, eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, athlete's foot, even things like sensitive skin, and actually even some skin cancers, have been linked to a damaged skin microbiome, okay? So we talk about an allergy epidemic, all these common skin problems have been linked to a damaged skin microbiome. Now, the key thing to remember here, okay, is that whether this damaged skin microbiome is the cause or the effect of the skin problems, is always important to remember before jumping to any conclusions.
That is a really interesting point. I mean, I've always found it quite fascinating. Do you have eczema, for instance, due to a damaged microbiome? Or does having eczema in the first place give you a damaged microbiome? And perhaps in the end, as we found, it doesn't actually matter too much. But going back to the allergy epidemic, Nick, could it though be in any way linked to a generalized damaged microbiome throughout the population in the developed world?
Well, Yeah, that is absolutely the key question. Now, our own 2017 research paper, published paper, showed that on average, everyone in the developed world has a suboptimal skin microbiome when compared to agrarian cultures not exposed to the Western environment. Okay, now, interestingly, and probably not surprisingly, this exactly mirrors historic findings for the gut too, okay? Showing how everyone in the developed world has a suboptimal gut microbiome and skin microbiome. So, you know, I want to, let's try and put all this together, shall we? Let's try and spell this out a bit, okay? So, number one, all common skin problems have been linked to a damaged skin microbiome. Number two, everyone in the West has got less than optimal skin and gut microbiome. So it doesn't take a really huge leap of imagination to see that the allergy epidemic in the Western world is almost certainly in some way linked to these suboptimal skin and gut microbiomes. So there must be something in the environment in our developed world that agrarian cultures don't encounter. If we can find out what is causing this damage, whether it be what we're eating or putting on our skin or something else altogether, then we could potentially solve the allergy epidemic and get back to having healthy agrarian skin.
Just quickly, when we say agrarian, we're really talking about cultures, societies that have very little, next to no contact with the developed world. And there have been some fascinating studies actually of tribes in Brazil who have a very, very varied microbiome, and they've had hardly any contact. They're farming communities. They have no contact practically with the outside world. So going back to the studies, have there been any studies, Nick, that might indicate which practices in Western culture may be causing this suboptimal condition?
Yeah, I always want to, before I answer that, I always want to try and say and reiterate again, it's very important to remember that the human body is a very complex interlinked system. And so it's unlikely that one single factor is the cause, okay? However, okay, to answer your question, yes, there's been a lot of research on this topic, mostly focusing on the gut in Western diet and its effect on the gut. However, more recent research, including our own, is starting to focus on the skin microbiome, and there's awareness of its importance to overall whole body health increases, okay? And there are an increasing number of research papers that have suggested that artificial chemicals in everyday cosmetics are likely to be the major causal factor, likely to be a major causal factor of skin damage, okay? Again, there's many issues, but then probably is a major causal factor, the artificial chemicals in everyday cosmetics. And in our own 2019 groundbreaking published research we did in conjunction with the Medical University of Graz pointed to this fact even more strongly. Okay, now this research we did with the Medical University of Graz showed that face wash products containing artificial chemicals all maintained the damaged Western skin. Only products we tested without synthetic chemicals that were 100% truly natural improved the skin barrier condition.
That's really, really important to point out. Going back to the gut microbiome though, and that's the gut bacteria, the flora in the gut, is that linked to these diseases too? Is there any connection between the gut microbiome and the skin microbiome?
Well, very much so, you know, and for a long time there's been many studies indicating that a damaged gut has direct links to both food and skin allergies. However, what's happening now is, while accepted opinion used to be that all food allergies happen via a damaged gut, that view is being challenged. Okay, new research is now revealing that the condition of our skin is just as important for whole body health. And you know, this makes sense because our microbiomes don't work in isolation. They're part of a whole ecosystem that works together.
So just to clarify this really important point, a damaged skin microbiome could lead not just to skin allergies, but food allergy problems too.
Yeah, it's quite incredible actually. And the latest research is even more incredible because it indicates that a damaged skin may be the major cause of food allergies sensitization, okay? Not a cause, the major cause of food allergy sensitization rather than the gut, okay? Now, let's take one very common food allergy, peanut allergy, okay? Exposure of allergens such as peanuts to young damaged skin is likely to be the main cause. For example, a young sufferer of eczema who comes into contact with a peanut through their skin could develop the food allergy. Now, although this may sound unlikely, it's actually very logical because, as we said, your body's an ecosystem that's interconnected, and your skin has much more direct connection with the environment than the gut. The gut is cut off and isolated and protected from the outside world. And many people say that actually the gut microbiome is actually predetermined at the point of birth. Okay, but your skin's different. Okay, it's the first line of defense from the ravages of the outside world. Okay, it's exposed to the outside world, and that's why it plays such a key role in your immune system.
Right, Nick, we've been talking a lot so far about a healthy microbiome or a damaged microbiome. I mean, if we're not clear what it means, what is a damaged microbiome, and how can we tell if it's damaged or not?
Yeah, okay, there's several points in that question. Okay, so let's just deconstruct it slightly. Okay, when we talk about unhealthy gut or skin, we really usually mean a damaged microbiome. Okay, an unhealthy microbiome of the gut or skin is perhaps the key indicator of overall health. Now, when trying to find out what a damaged microbiome look like, many people try to link a particular species of microbe or bacteria to skin or gut health. However, there's no reliable evidence linking certain microbial species to a healthy or damaged skin. Okay, many people have tried it and it's never perfectly works out. Okay, now our own 2017 research paper showed that the only reliable measure of the health of any ecosystem anywhere in nature is by measuring, keyword, biodiversity. Okay, biodiversity is the only reliable indicator of skin health. Okay, so if you have a biodiverse gut or skin microbiome, then you're likely to be healthy. And this shouldn't actually come as a surprise because the same principle applies right across nature everywhere. From the gigantic Amazon rainforest to microscopic ecosystems found in and on your body, biodiversity is the key to a healthy system. Okay, many years of research have proven almost beyond doubt that a diverse gut is a healthy gut. That's established opinion now. And again, going back to our 2017 research paper that we keep talking about, indicates that exactly the same applies to the skin too. Biodiverse skin is healthy and beautiful skin.
In connection with biodiversity, we've actually got two quotes that we very often use. And the first one is by Professor Ted Dinan. He's a professor at Cork University Hospital in Ireland. And he actually studies the gut-brain connection. So the quote is, "A good rule of thumb is a healthy microbiome is a diverse microbiome containing a wide variety of different species living all over our bodies." Love that quote. The next one is by a man called Tim Spector, who's actually a professor of genetic epidemiology at King's College in London. And he's written many books on the gut microbiome. He's an expert, including one called Spoon-Fed. I love the title, "Why Almost Everything We've Been Told About Food is Wrong." His quote about biodiversity is this: "It's a bit like a rainforest. You might have a very nice fern that's very happy, but if that's the only thing in your rainforest and you don't have diversity, it's not going to be good for the soil." If you substitute soil for skin, it makes sense. So Nick, therefore, let's just sum up what biodiversity actually is. What does it mean when we talk about it?
Yes, it's a great. I'm going to give it just simply, but it's not entirely accurately, but it's accurate enough for our discussion today. Okay, biodiversity is the microbiome, is the amount of different types of microbes within it. Okay, not the amount of microbes, the number of different types of microbes within it. Okay, again, you can think of it like the Amazon rainforest. In the parts that haven't been touched by the outside world, the rainforest is luscious and flourishing, okay? And there are many different types of plants, animals, fungi, insects, all the way down the chain, right down to the microbial level, okay, in the soil and such like. And this shows that it's a healthy ecosystem, okay? Now compare that to when the rainforest has been logged, okay, by humans, which is a big issue at the moment, okay, in the environment. The trees have been cut down, animals' habitats have been destroyed, and there are fewer types of flora and fauna. Okay, so once you lose one species, then other species have knock-on effect, and the decline isn't linear; it's actually exponential. You get a catastrophic loss in biodiversity right down the chain. Okay, and this is much less healthy ecosystem. Okay, so the right conditions in an ecosystem are vital for it to flourish and to be biodiverse.
Now, at last, I think we're beginning to see a glimmer of light for solving the skin allergy epidemic. So increasing the biodiversity of our skin microbiome could be as important as increasing the biodiversity of our gut microbiome.
Good.
What
Correct.
about that?
That's exactly right. Okay, increasing our skin and gut microbiomes biodiversity will lead to overall improved whole body health, and certainly will almost certainly reduce the occurrence of allergies in the developed world. Okay, diet's key, but so too is skin maintenance. The two ecosystems working in tandem produces an effect, and this is important, produces an effect that is greater than the sum of its parts. Okay, they're dependent on each other for optimal whole body health. So it's not like you treat one, you get 50% improvement, another 50% improvement. You get an exponential improvement that greater than the sum of the two. Okay, and there are other microbes in the bodies, but these are probably possibly the two most important for overall whole body health. Okay, so yes. Your question.
Now our final question is obvious. What everyone wants to know: how could we go about strengthening the skin microbiome?
Yeah,
we've talked a lot about biodiversity. We've talked about a lot about damaged, strong. How do we strengthen it?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're saying is that there's been a catastrophic loss in biodiversity right through nature and including on human beings as well. Okay, so yeah, okay, well that's a very bad thing, isn't it? What do we do about it? All right. Well, again, it must mention human body is a very complex system. Okay. And focusing on just one area is not enough. However, what we're on this is very important area, the skin microbiome. So let's focus on that, okay? Now, the first step about the skin is to first do no harm, as the old medical adage used to go, okay? And the way to first stop doing any harm is to stop using artificial chemicals in everyday cosmetics. Now, these are alien to your body's immune system, potentially causing chronic inflammation. Now, as previously mentioned, our own research has clearly shown how these chemicals can maintain suboptimal skin. So only use products that are truly natural, with truly natural ingredients that the immune system is familiar with. Okay, and I think I will put in this word of warning at this stage. Okay, many products that are labelled as natural or organic, in fact, contain harsh synthetic ingredients too, especially artificial preservatives that destroy your microbiome. I'll digress slightly, but for terms such as natural and pure, part of our remit is to get the global cosmetics industry to match the food standards regulations. Food labeled as natural and pure cannot have any synthetic ingredients, whereas cosmetics, even so-called organic cosmetics, are allowed to contain many potential harmful synthetic chemicals. Okay, it's something just to be aware of. Now then, the second part of skin microbiome strengthening is to use the latest generation of skincare products that are not only truly natural, first do no harm, but also create an environment on the skin that allows biodiversity to flourish. Okay, biodiversity is skin health, leads to skin health, which leads to beautiful skin. Now, the key formulation issue here is to get the natural ingredients to work together synergistically, to have an effect on the skin microbiome that is greater than the sum of its parts. Now, to understand this, think about a garden, okay? Now, to make things grow and increase biodiversity, then we need to improve the condition of the soil. Just like a garden, we need to improve the condition of our skin barrier so that biodiversity can flourish. When we fertilize and condition our skin properly, all aspects of our skin become healthy. The barrier, moisture regulation, immune system, etc. And the success of this skin microbiome technology is, again, clearly demonstrated in our published research with Medical University of Graz. Face and body wash products using this technology strengthen the skin microbiome and overall health of the barrier in just 2 weeks.
Talking about the right environment, as Nick has been, we've got a brilliant example actually from Lena at Vital Plus, which we thought we would steal because it's so good. We should really get her to talk about it herself, actually. I won't do it as well. But she had a lovely planetary analogy. She used Earth and Mars, looking at these planets in our solar system. Which one has the conditions for life to flourish? If you look at Earth, it's got all the right conditions. It's got water, it's got atmosphere, oxygen, it's got heat and light. Life can grow there. Let's look at Mars then. Mars doesn't support life. It's the nearest planet in the solar system, but life doesn't flourish there, or not now anyway. The air's thin, it's cold and dry, it's rocky and barren. We thought that was an absolutely brilliant example, so thanks, Lena, for that. We use it, we're going to use it often now. Now, lastly, I think we're getting on to the title of the talk now, the facts and fallacies bit, fallacies. Let's look at some other proposed skin microbiome strengthening solutions, starting with probiotics, Nick. We'll go through them. What are they, and could they aid biodiversity? I mean, I think we all know, we think we know what they mean. We all know about good bacteria in things like yogurt. Can they help biodiversity, Nick?
Yeah, as you say, the probiotics by definition are live bacteria, and yeasts are the microorganisms promoted as having various health benefits, as you say, usually found, commonly the most found in things like yogurts and foods supplements. Okay, now the problem here is it's not just about the quantity of these helpful bacteria strains, it's about biodiversity. And the big problem we have, and other people have got with probiotics, is they can by definition drastically reduce biodiversity. Okay, now let me explain. Probiotics contain billions of usually one species only, okay? And this could potentially lead to a serious condition called dysbiosis. Dysbiosis is a condition caused when one normally harmless species of microbe predominates over another and becomes pathogenic, okay? And the important thing to remember here is that most microbes are not inherently good or bad, as Linda alluded to, okay? But they can become pathogenic or bad or dangerous when they're out of balance. And again, let's look at a real world or natural world example. Okay, wolves were removed from Yellowstone Park in the northern USA, and the deer proliferated and became a menace. When in balance, they were essential to the health of the environment. Okay, so deer were good, became bad. Okay, if you have too many of something whether it has animals or microbes, become bad if they're out of balance. And that's what probiotics are doing. They're throwing billions of microbes of one particular species. And the other part of that, I will say, is that a lot of the probiotics that are being offered for the skin, that are being offered at the moment, contain species that are not normally found on the skin. That's usually things like lactobacilli. Now, that's because they're using the same probiotics that are used in the gut as for the skin, okay? Now, as I was at a conference some time ago, I'm speaking to Professor Michael Wilson, who's the professor of microbiology at University College London. He's one of the preeminent people about the makeup of the skin. Now, and I'll use a quote of his. It's introducing any microbe that is not part of the resident microbiota of the particular body region is potentially dangerous. If the skin is repeatedly assaulted by huge numbers of lactobacilli, perhaps its colonization resistance will break down. Now, this will be relevant to you guys. Okay, good examples of the potential dangers of interfering with the ecosystem is by introducing a species that is not native, is the introduction of the cane toad to Australia. Now, I know you guys in Australia, lots of problems with things like rabbits, cane toads, and cats and such like, okay, because they're alien species and they get out of balance very quickly, okay? So adding alien species to the skin using the same probiotics used in the gut on the skin potentially can be extremely dangerous, okay? And the other thing I will say about a lot of companies offering probiotics, again, I was at a conference and speaking to someone who's offering a probiotic solution, and she was getting a bit irritated with me. She said, we offer a probiotic solution. And actually, if you don't mind me saying so, you're not actually, are you? Because the bacteria aren't live, are they? Again, that's the reason for that is cosmetics legislation throughout the world states that live bacteria cannot be supported in cosmetic products. So most so-called probiotic skincare products just contain deactivated microbes and are not live probiotics at all. So they're not actually probiotics.
Well, that last point is quite an eye-opener, isn't it? I was amazed by that. So I think in all, it's a bit of a thumbs down for probiotics, isn't it, from us? Because they seem to be the polar opposite, actually, of biodiversity. If we take the next one, Nick, what about prebiotics? I mean, these are materials that are meant to feed the good microbes in the gut, but do they work for the skin too?
Well, oh dear. It looks as if I'm going to give a bad rap here too. Well, for the gut, prebiotics are a type of dietary fiber that feed friendly bacteria in the gut. Okay, and these beneficial bacteria in your gut eat this fiber. But you know, even in the gut, okay. I'll give you a quote from Kevin Whelan, who's a professor of dietetics at King's College London. He says, prebiotics do not increase the diversity of the microbiome, okay? They'll increase the specific bacteria, but they won't increase the number of different types of bacteria, okay? So for biodiversity, feeding our gut microbes with a diverse diet seems to be the best way of increasing biodiversity. Prebiotics, as Professor of Dietetics said, don't improve biodiversity. Okay, so what about using these prebiotics on the skin? Now the trouble is that most people often prebiotics for the skin. They're using the same things that are used for the gut. Now the point is here is that the microbes on the skin are not there to aid digestion. Okay, microbes in the skin have a completely different function, and so need completely different conditions. Now, so all I can conclude really is that prebiotics for the gut do not improve biodiversity. And for skin health, the term prebiotic becomes rather meaningless if you're going to use the same things that are used for the gut. Sorry.
Oh dear, that looks like another thumbs down then. Nick, we're not doing very well here. Last one, and I must admit this was quite a new one on me, postbiotics. I mean, apparently these are byproducts that have usually come about as the result of fermentation by bacteria and other microbes. This is something relatively new, I think, in my defense. Could they help improve the skin's biodiversity, Nick?
Right, I'm going to try and be more positive here. Right, postbiotics, yes.
Bit of positivity, please, come on.
These things are organic acids and such like. They're the byproducts of the breakdown of fiber actually found in prebiotic foods. And they do appear to be very useful for the gut microbiome. And it's probably these postbiotics that are the key to the effectiveness of any prebiotics in the gut. Okay. And interesting enough, people eating fermented byproducts have been shown to have more biodiverse microbiome. Okay, so we'll go with the thumbs up for the postbiotics for the gut. Okay, but you know, certainly is a lot of evidence that they're not helping. However, the problem again is that most postbiotics used in the skin are the same things used for the gut, and it's the same issue here. Sorry, I can't maintain positivity throughout this. Okay, so while there's been a lot of research that seems to indicate that they can aid the skin barrier and potentially alleviate skin conditions, the problem is that doesn't appear to be enough research on whether the biodiversity of the skin is improved. Now, and so a lot more research is going to be needed to address the long-term benefits of postbiotics and actually discover, if you're going to use such things as postbiotics, the actual substances as we have, which actually benefit the skin and benefit the biodiversity of the skin.
Okay, but just to keep a bit positive, Nick, postbiotics look more promising than in the long term. It's just that we probably don't have enough knowledge, do we, at the moment, on how they work on the skin. Let's have your summary, Nick, then, of all this. Where are we up to? I think we've sort of just about come full circle, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's time for me to wind up. Okay, what I'm going to do is say that, okay, basically it comes down to this. If you want perfect, healthy, and beautiful skin, okay, biodiversity, maintaining a biodiversity of both the skin and gut microbiome is absolutely key, okay? Beautiful skin is healthy skin, and it's vital to focus on whole body health, okay? So using a combination of the products, ones that improve the biodiversity of the gut and ones that have been proven to increase the biodiversity of the skin is the way to go. And my final point, and this is hopefully for everyone, the last you're going to hear from me, okay, is that for all skin health professionals and businesses, okay, now, I do say to you, whether you like it or not, there's a revolution in skincare and whole body health on its way, okay, all based around what we've talked about, skin microbiome biodiversity. And while this is a huge, exciting opportunity for all early movers in the industry and in the business, it's also a challenge, okay? I would really worry about really hemorrhaging my clients to my faster moving competitors if I delayed. I think everyone in this industry needs to get on board with this as soon as possible.
Well, on that thrilling note, I'd just like to mention some extraordinary results actually that we're getting from studies in the Netherlands. And that's just part of what we're doing, transforming lives, hopefully around the world, not just in Australia with Frank and Lena at Vital Plus. We've actually just finished a small study in conjunction with a medical practice in the Netherlands. And that study saw life-changing improvements for people who've been suffering from really severe skin problems, actually, for anything up to 48 years. That's a good note to finish on, I think, an uplifting note, which seems the perfect place to finish today. And I think we have completed the circle. We've looked at the microbiome, the skin allergy epidemic. We've looked at ecosystems and biodiversity that makes them healthy, and we've looked at how to get healthy skin. And we've talked about some facts and fallacies along the way. My final point, really, just before we let you ask questions, is to tell you very quickly that the main reason we started JooMo, which was my own experience a few years back of having skin problems. And I think Frank alluded to this in his introduction. A few years back, I developed what looked like an extreme allergic reaction, mainly on my face, which I just couldn't get rid of, and it got worse and worse. Tried everything from over-the-counter creams to natural products to topical steroid creams. In the end, nothing worked. But at that point, and in desperation, we started to do our own research, and we found that I was just one example of the rise in skin problems that was the skin allergy epidemic, as we found out. And at that point, we discovered the science of the skin microbiome. And only when we started to look at the cause, that was, as we found out, a depleted skin microbiome, rather than the symptoms, did we actually find the solution to my skin problems. And I think that's why we feel so strongly about helping others to get back their health, and why, well, 10 years later now, we could call ourselves the world leaders in skin microbiome biodiversity. I think Frank's got the page and video link to Linda's story. If anybody wants to read more details, I'll leave it to you, Frank. And finally, I think that's it. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. We do hope this has given you some food for thought and raised questions, given you an insight into what we do really believe is the future of skincare and indeed health. So thanks for listening, everyone, and thank you very much. That's it, I think, from us.
Thank you very much, Nick and Linda. That was fascinating to listen to you both discuss this topic that we love. It's obviously a topic that links to so many important things that we may experience in the life that we go through, especially, you know, living in an environment where there's a lot of pollution, the sun, the diet, and how that affects us. It was fascinating to hear how much the gut links to the health of the skin. I didn't realize that. I thought they were two separate entities. I know that, you know, when we are highly stressed, the skin is one of the first organs that really shows where you're at in that area. Yeah, but very, very fascinating subject. Now, I said at the beginning that we would ask our audience if they'd want to ask you some questions directly. They just need to scroll down to the bottom where there's a little a chat icon, and there they can just type their question. I've got a few that I would ask myself, but most of them you answered. So I'm going to go straight to a question that someone asked. I don't have their name because it just says from an iPhone, but it says, how would I recognize a postbiotic, and what names do they go by?
All right. Well, I don't know if one needs to answer that. To be honest with you, it's not really our field. When you say what names do they go by, you know, postbiotics for the gut tend to be, various sort of these byproducts from the breakdown of fibers. That prebiotics are really these types of special sort of soluble fibers generally, and the gut microflora breaks down this fiber and produces these chemicals. So really cutting out the prebiotics and going straight to that. Okay, so again, you know, because I'm not an expert on the gut microbiome, we deal with the skin microbiome. My point about this is they're probably very good for the gut microbiome, but these chemicals, why would they work for the skin?
Although I suppose the only point is if they're natural byproducts, I mean, this is the hopeful element, produced through natural processes. You know, they could very well be useful for the skin. But I think, yes. Well, certainly because this is very new to us, the postbiotics, but we're not sure, I think.
Linus, and I don't know if she's right, but she says to me, she told me that the postbiotics are like the poos of the bacteria, and so if you want to fertilize the ground, that's probably a good thing to use. But she also pointed out to me that if the food is that you give, then the better the qualities of the poos, hence the postbiotics. So you know, if you eat junk food, you'll have junk postbiotics. Would she be right? Do you think? In that?
Well, again,
image.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, personally speaking, I think that's extremely good. Only a byproduct, yes, is probably a polite term for what these microbes actually excrete. But yes, so yeah, you know, again, the thing is, when you eat junk foods, our microbes grow, the wrong type grow, and you actually lose lots of diverse well. So what I would say though is, and I think not me, a lot of people do say, is the most important thing for having a biodiverse gut is to have many different types of food, especially vegetables. Okay, these are the things that really lead to biodiversity, and as we've seen throughout nature, biodiversity is the key.
Yeah, because I remember at one stage you said prebiotics doesn't bring diversity, but it's the diversity of the foods also. So you know, if I just eat beans all day, that's lots of prebiotics, but that's not going to bring a diverse diet into my gut. And so what I need to do is, and I remember I was speaking to Fiona Tuck, who's one of our influencers and authority on the subject. She said to me, you know, try and eat 20 different, I think it was 20, maybe it could have been 30 even, you know, different foods in your day. Yeah. And I started to count, and it's not easy, you know, to have 20 or 30 different types of food. And I'm not talking about that come out of a can, or that's, you know, just raw foods like vegetables and fruits and
I would.
Is that what you mean?
I mean, I was going to say in Scotland we think 5 is a lot of fruit and vegetables. We're pretty bad on the on the varied fruit and vegetable diet. But I think, as you say, Frank, 30, as many as you can. Fruit and vegetables is always good, isn't it? And fibrous things as well.
Right.
Yeah, if I just jump in there, you see, this question of definition here. Okay, now I would totally agree with you and what that lady said. Okay, now the thing is, with definition, what prebiotics are. Okay, prebiotics generally are this very specific types of food which target, you know, these breaking down of the fiber. Okay, so generally it's a very limited amount of actually foods that are bracketed as prebiotics. Other people sort of tend to broaden it out somewhat, but that's why it's a question of definition. I would totally agree with the fact that more varied diet is the key to the way to go.
Yes. I'll just see if there's any. Someone is asking, where can I find your study, that some of the studies that you've done? Is there some journals or?
Yeah, shall I answer that, Linda? What we can do is we can send you. It's all on our skin microbiome school. All our published research, or links to our published research, is there.
Right.
So we can let you have that, Frank, if you like.
Okay.
Like to
what I'm going to do is at the end I will be just making a special offer on the JooMo skin wash products that help with the biome and the diversity. And I'll also just upload the link because I know that there's a quiz and people can test themselves out. It takes them to the school, the prebiotic schools, and they'll be able to see some of the papers that you guys have published, as well as the twins, are some of the publisher that they've done in there. Yeah. Yeah. So by the way, just so you know, I'm saying this to our audience, the word JooMo, the product that you created, it comes from a French word, jumeau, which is, it means twins.
Yes. And
you named it after the twins. They're both scientists themselves. Can you tell us a little bit about the twins, just very quickly? Nick and
Linda. Well, what would we do without them? They're both very involved in JooMo, have been for years actually. They're both science-based, like Nick. I'm the odd one out. So they've both done studies in physics, geophysics, nuclear physics, which is all a bit of a foreign language to me. But yeah, and funnily enough, some of the research that they've done, physics actually, has been very helpful in the development of the products. So we've really kind of incorporated some of their knowledge. But yeah, they're very much a part of JooMo.
It's rather interesting. A lot of very successful people in the field of biology, people like Francis Crick, have actually come from a physics background. You know, so yes, we know Sam, for instance, you know, is an astrophysicist, and it's very much linked into into the sort of work that we're doing.
Mm. Right. And I think particularly the butterfly effect and sometimes the laws of unintended consequences, we found great help looking at these physical theories actually when we've been developing and looking at the microbiome actually, because one thing has an effect that almost is a step effect that's far greater than the sum of the different parts. So physics has played a great part in it actually.
It's all about non-linear physics, to use the jargon.
Non-linear.
It's something
that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's
that's the expression I'm desperately searching for.
Yeah, and the trouble is, a lot of biologists unfortunately aren't great at maths, you see, and they have quite difficult concepts with these issues. So that's where the sort of physics background can really help in everything we're doing.
Right. And now I know that we've just posted on the chat area the link to the microbiome school, and I've got just a Fiona, who I just mentioned actually. The study says minimum.
That's the 40 a day.
30. I thought it was 30. Sorry, Fiona. 30 plants and foods a week, but she recommends 40 whole grain, fruits, veggies, legumes, seeds, herbs. All of these constitute as one different item. So I know that when Lena makes a soup, there's probably 15 different things at least. So I'm very, very lucky. She puts a whole lot of different things. And then she says there are different types of prebiotics which work on different bacteria. Hence, diversity in the diet is key. Prebiotic is beneficial postbiotics, and that's the quality of those excrements. We want the quality excrements. Sorry guys, I needed a visual image, and Lena always brings up these images for me, and then I understand it all makes sense. I just wanted to I know I said that we wouldn't talk too much, but I just want to brush a little bit about the JooMo. You know, I know that when I use the face wash, I can taste the salt, I can taste different things because it's 100% natural. You can actually, not that I would recommend that you eat it, but it's very tasty. Can you tell me about some of the ingredients and how that synergy works on improving the biodiversity? Are you able?
Well, do you want to talk about the ingredients, Linda, and I'll talk about the synergy?
Well, I mean, we started off deliberately picking very, very simple ingredients. So we're not sort of using any unusual roots or strangely sourced things from far countries. We've just used very simple things which have a long history of use on the skin. So for instance, we have sugar, which is seen as very good for cleansing the skin. Salt, as you said, Frank. We have essential oils, which each of them in a blend has a particular use for the skin. I mean, I think on the whole, you can break down the ingredients and each has qualities, which I think we've listed on our website. We have salt, sugar. We use orange juice, which is very good again for the pores and the skin. Saponins are the cleaner, so there's actually a natural cleaner in there. But I think Nick will enlarge on this. The point about it is that it's going back to this thing again, the effect of the ingredients together in this blend on purpose is greater than the sum of its parts. So yes, in a sense, we tend to focus less on, I know ingredients are interesting and we love that, but we focus less on the individual ingredients and their effects than actually the whole, the system. And it goes back to our ecosystems point again, really, that the effect it has is greater synergistically is the word, isn't it, than each on its own. I mean, you might want to add to that, Nick.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely not that much to add at all. No, you know, as an industry, generally people tend to focus on single ingredients. It's like that. But you know, the key, the eureka moment for us, if you like, was when we discovered, you know, working with some of the top universities, you know, in Europe. We worked with the University of Leeds, we worked with the University of Surrey and Medical University of Graz. Was the fact that we could use these particular ingredients, the properties they had, to magnify what they could do. Okay, and again, this all comes down to nonlinear physics. Okay, that the greater than the sum of their parts, and the most important. I'm not going to give you all our formulation ideas away, but you know, basically what we found was that by having the right combination of these particular ingredients, we could improve and strengthen the skin microbiome, and that was the key. And they wouldn't work if you just had the individual ingredients. It was them working together synergistically, which had this effect on the skin.
I mean, it's actually a recognized technology, I think, in biology, step technology, that you take a number of different ingredients or raw materials, you put them together, and each one raises the level of you know, efficacy, as it were, and that's why, in a sense, we tend not to focus hugely on the individual ingredients, though we like them and nice though they are. We look at it as a whole.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I think, is there any other questions? I think that's it. We talked about the little quiz that people can do if you want to test out your knowledge on the skin microbiome. You can go to this link, the microbiomeschool.com, and there you'll find the quiz. Now, I haven't done it myself, so I can't tell you how hard it is, but I am going to do it, and I'll share my results with everybody. And it'll be very interesting. Actually, I'm very curious to see what sort of questions come up. Also, if you want to hear about Linda's story, I thought it was fascinating. It was really amazing how that really inspired Nick and the twins to find a solution. What an amazing family you have, that, you know, well, mum's got a problem, let's put our heads together and find a solution, and you did. And you know, JooMo obviously helped you get your skin back to a beautiful, I mean, you've got a beautiful skin, Linda, and everybody can see that. It's hard to imagine.
Thank you, Frank.
Truly. So yes, so again, thank you very, very much for being with us and for sharing your knowledge, being up at 3 a.m. It's now 4 a.m. in the morning. We're you know, absolutely grateful, and very grateful. Thank you. I will just say one thing. If people want to join us on our closed Facebook group, we'll also post the link on the chat box down the bottom, and you can just copy that. And if you think of a question that you weren't able to ask Nick and Linda, you can also email it to us at that info@vitalplus.com.au, and we'd be happy to reach out to Nick or Linda and ask them if they can clarify any of your questions that you've thought of. You know, it's always like that. Sometimes you think, oh, I should have asked them that. So if that happens, don't hesitate. We'll share. They're great enthusiasts to bring awareness and about the skin microbiome. Again, thank you so much, Nick and Linda. It's so wonderful to have you both, and well, have a good night's sleep.
Oh, yes, thank you, Frank.
And, take care, everybody. Take care.
It's been our
Bye.
pleasure. Thank you.